Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be playing a run of Spain as Himiko Queen of Wa, and we are continuing from a run we did as Carthage, based on the rather massive turn 65 Carthage that I have here. So we're kind of just showing off how big Carthage is on the last turn of this game. So, you know, we've got quite a few brand new wonders in our city, creating an absolutely incredible tile of air. And let's see, we also managed to get Notre Dame, we've got the House of Wisdom, we got El Escorial, so we've got a pretty exciting Spain game, as well as you can tell we're pretty heavily settled, as you might be able to expect based on the way we played Carthage, and we're making a little bit of money. You know, we've got a few gold coming in, so that's what's in store for this run. So, anyway, let's get into the build and how we accomplish this. Alright, so now that we've had our little preamble, let's go through and start building our mighty Spanish Empire by rolling over to the Exploration Age. Alright, so, looking at this screen, you'll notice that I actually don't have very many unlocks as far as what I can play, and specifically we're missing out on Abbasid, Hawaii, and Majapahit, which I think, so far, in my opinion, these are the three strongest by a notable margin in the Exploration Age. That's my opinion. So, we're going to go ahead and play Spain today, just because I think we're going to be able to get a lot of benefit out of Spain, because Spain really likes heavily settling the distant lands, and that's kind of what our empire is built to do right now, is heavily settle the distant lands, so I think Spain should work out pretty well. So, let's go into our mementos. First things first, we want to make sure to grab a scientific attribute point this time, with the goal being that we get to, after the legacies, we want to have 3 science and 3 cultural attribute points. And then the other thing we're going to go... So this one is very game-specific. I'm going to take Queen's Jewelry, just because my Empire right now has 10 natural wonder tiles in it, so this Queen's Jewelry should be... it should be 40 gold a turn, right from turn 1, which isn't the highest amount of gold ever, but it should give us incredible tempo, and as is almost always true in Civilization, every Civilization game, yields now are better than yields later, so... 40 gold a turn from turn 1 is probably among the best. So, I've been skipping the first turn a couple of times with the previous videos, because I think it's kind of boring, and there's like a lot of busy work to do. And I think I'm going to try not to do that this time. So what I might do is I might show off choosing my legacies in my initial build, cut out all of my unit movement, and then play the first 3 turns or something like that. So that's where we're going to go. Alright, what do we got? We got 2 militaristic points. I'm going to grab Fealty and then stop thinking about it. We've got, what is that, 2 cultural points. We want both cultural attributes, because that should bring us up to, let's double check and make sure. Oh, we only actually need 1 cultural attribute. I guess we could get 2 and go for the, either plus 10 in wonders or plus 10 in resources. But so this, plus 1 culture in settlements for each resource assigned, and in the science tree, plus 1 science in settlements for each resource assigned. This is basically going to be our early game culture and science. So we only need 1 culture point to reach that, but we need both of our scientific points. So what we're going to do, let's go back to choosing our legacies. I'm so glad that it doesn't reset your legacy choices when you when you use the view map option to dip out of it and come back. Alright, so Master Caravaneer, honestly that's probably what we're going to take, because we still want 2 economic attribute points, and this combined with the Queen's Jewelry is going to bring us up to 75 gold a turn baseline on turn 1, so we should really have tempo coming out of turn 1 with that much gold, and I'm super happy about that. Then here, we'll just go for the scientific attribute points. Plus 15% science, the cost of 10% culture could be good, but I haven't thought about it hard enough, so I don't want to take it. So we're just gonna move on with this, and we're gonna lose 1 of our scientific legacy points. Alright, so what do we got to go? Let's see. Something that will give me gold later, or gold now. Yields now, always better. Let's grab our... what do we want to do here? We'll go with this one, why not? I'm not sure if it's better to do, construction or science towards tech masteries, but I think I like the tech masteries better. The quarters here is really interesting, too. I might actually spend my wildcard point there, depending on, on what else we have. And then, for the gold, this is going to be excellent. That'll bring us up to 110 baseline, plus whatever else we have. So our gold should be really, really strong at the start of this Spain game. And then this one's kind of tough. 1 resource capacity in towns is really strong with the way that I've built my tech tree, but that's also yields later, since I don't have the resources to fill the towns right this moment. So I think we're going to go with 15% towards purchasing, because that's yields now, which is good. And then, normally with the diplomatic point, I like to go towards the influence tree, but as Carthage, since we have, we're going to have hub towns that are giving us double-digit influence, I think the happiness is better. So we're going to go for that. And then with our 1 wild card point, what are we going to do? I think we're going to continue, we're going to go for happiness for the resource. And that's partially because, again, this is something that is going to allow us to be like 3 or 4 over the settlement cap and not experience any kind of penalties. And it also gets closer to, at the very end of the game, I think that the diplomatic, like the diplomatic capstone talent that gives you 3% towards all yields is just better than every other, 5% towards 1 yield for the economic capstone, 3% towards 7 yields for the diplomatic capstone is just so much better. So that's why we're favoring diplomatic points a little bit higher than normal here. And unfortunately, since we went through both of these happiness things, we will actually have to go for the plus 50% celebration length to get efficiently to the end, which I actually think that 50% celebration length is bad, but it is what it is. Okay. So we spent those over the settlement cap. No, we're not. Resource assignment. Do that in a moment. Technology. What are we going to go with? Per usual, we're going for cartography first, because we want to get to the distant lands. And this one's always tough for me, because I think both piety and economics are very real choices here. Because of the specific kind of empire I have, and because we're going for a massive gold Spain. Look at that, we're already on 300 gold a turn, and I haven't even slotted my resources. That's going to go up as soon as I assign my resources. But because we're a gold economy right now, and we're really pushing that, we're going to go with economics. Let's see, let's get social policies in there. Unfortunately, the Carthage social policies kind of don't do anything right now. We'll get a little bit of value out of Kinkareem, because we're probably going to buy 1 or 2 boats to explore the distant lands, but not a whole lot. Low happiness. Alright, let's do the resources now. Partially because it's just... So right now, my science and culture look abysmal, which makes sense. I'm Carthage. This is turn 1 of the exploration age. I didn't build a whole lot of buildings last era, and even the ones I did are obsolete now. So we'll pull all the resources out, and then I'm going to go for 3 cities to start with. Partially because I can get up to 3 cities really cheaply and still maintain most of my gold for, we might actually go up to 4 cities if I have another one that's only 153. Okay, the price starts going up after that. So I kind of would like 1 more city, but I'm not sure if I want to do Hadramedum or Thanay. I think we're going to go with Thanay. I think Thanay is probably a better early city. Alright, then we're just going to stick to 4 for now, because if I wanted to upgrade another one, now it starts getting to the point of being 700 gold, which, for that money, I'd rather have a settler. A settler is just so much better than turning Hadramedum into a city right now, in my opinion. So, if you've watched me previously, you'll know that I normally like to try to explore distant lands in both directions, but we're actually really far from the west part of our starting area right now, so I think we're going to explore exclusively east this time. So we're going to start off with, let's see, I think I want to start off on 3 or 4 settlers, and I want to start off on also 3 or 4 boats. So let's get a boat. Let's get a boat. Let's get a boat. And let's get a boat. And then next turn, I'm going to be slightly short on gold, probably to buy 3 whole settlers, but I should be able to get at least 2. And have my settlers being pushed out, relatively quickly into the exploration age. So, unfortunately, Ashoka is kind of on the equator here. Really, I would like to explore from here, because it feels like the equator has the highest chance of having distant lands resources. But we should be fine. It looks like we've got a little bit of See, we've got some coastal there, so we should be able to explore in that direction pretty well. And then we can explore here as well, so we'll start doing that next turn. Alright, now that we've got our cities, let's go ahead and get the resources up. So, as standard, we're going to start off by looking at happiness. All of our cities except Carthage are happy, so let's go ahead and put some happiness resources into Carthage and then move on. Carthage has the most culture by a lot, so that's where all of our silk is going. And then Finet out of all these. Actually, no, we'll just put a gypsum in each. Why not? Ideally, we want to get these gypsums moved over to distant land cities like ASAP, but then 20% towards training units. I don't think this is great, but it's also worth 1 happiness, 1 science, and 1 culture because of the way my talent tree is, so we are going to go ahead and run it because that's very powerful. And then, as far as putting minor resources in, we want to get as many whales and elephants as we can into our cities, because cities are where production is most valuable. So let's go ahead and... I'm not explaining my resources anymore, but like after happiness is taken care of and your cities are resourced up, you pretty much just want to make sure everything's slotted. And now that we've done that... Oh, I'm surprised. That should have... There we go. There we go. So now we have still pretty weak science and culture, but they're somewhat more respectable than they were previously. And we've also got... let's see, Carthage is still showing unhappy, but it's got 12 happiness a turn. Alright, and the last thing. So normally I would say you should produce your settlers first, but since we still have leftover gold, we're just going to go ahead and start making stonecutters everywhere, because stonecutters are just excellent very early in the game. It's very scary in a multiplayer game, because if I had this few units in a multiplayer game, I would be getting crushed as people decided that they wanted to fight me, but it is not. Why can't I? Oh, because I don't have open borders with, open up. FBI, open up Ashoka. And you may be worried, why did I just spend that much influence early game? Don't I need my early game influence? Well, let me show you why we are not worried about that at all. We're going to go ahead and get a 12 influence hub town there. Then we're going to go to Rusticade, and we're going to get ourselves a 12 influence hub town. Wow, 24 influence from 2 hub towns. And it only gets better from that, because wouldn't you know it, Hadromadam's only +4. I thought Hadromadam was going to be a lot better. Huh. Well, oops. Thysdrus is going to come in clutch for us, though, being a 16 influence hub town. And then Leptis is worth 14. So, all said and done, that's 54 influence a turn out of our hub towns. It's nice because it effectively means that you can just spam diplomatic actions all game long without worrying about the influence cost, because we're getting so much influence per turn. It's like completely unreasonable. So, all right, now that we've got our first turn set up, like I said, we'll probably go to about turn 3, maybe turn 4 or something like that. Let's get a settler. Can we afford 3 settlers? That'd be nice. Let's get a settler. And let's find some Oh, that's some very close distant lands. That's exciting. Ooh, and there's a shipwreck there too. I probably should have gone for exploring first over going for that shipwreck, but you know, I'm a little bit of a treasure goblin. Wait, I met a new civilization. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy, these are some not so distant lands. What's I guess that must be the so I'm playing this on a just a normal continent spawn rather than Continents Plus. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Still think we're gonna go with Theocracy just because I think the culture celebration is just the best celebration. We are upset that I bought a settler up north here, because with Cahokia Cahokia, that means this was his capital in Antiquity too. So something tells me we're not going to be able to settle this area, since Cahokia's right here. So, if we were playing with resets, I would absolutely be going back to turn 1 and buying a settler down south instead of buying a settler up north. And in addition to that, we're definitely not buying another settler up north, so glad we know now. It's a shame that you get 1 boat at the start of exploration, and our boat spawned in like the most useless possible town. It spawned in the middle of the known world. Alright, so we're just gonna... Did we get... No, we don't have leadership. We are still just gonna pop this guy onto Carthage. Actually, you know what? We should bring him to the distant lands, just in case we need to fight anybody in the distant lands. So, man, finding Ben Franklin right here is a little bit spicy. Oh my god, that's Isabella and the Songhai too. Wild. So this settler is definitely going south immediately because we're absolutely not going to be able to settle here based on what I've found already. Let's go ahead and get Isabella a friendly greeting. Yeah, so that's going to be the first 3 turns of this game, and I will see y'all, I don't know, like turn 10, turn 15 or something. Once I've started getting an idea of what my distant land settlements are going to start looking like, I'll come back and start recording again. But anyway, I will catch y'all soon. Alright, y'all, so I know it's only turn 6, so we're probably always just one thing that I wanted to show off. When you're playing any civilization with a unique district, you have to be fairly careful when placing your buildings that you don't... So, for instance, I'm getting ready to build a bazaar in Sabrotan, which is what I want to show off. But if we look at our unique district, both of these buildings have to be built adjacent to the coast and have specific... placement requirements, right? So here we get adjacency for quarters and wonders, and we get adjacency for navigable rivers, resources, and wonders. So that's kind of nice. That means it doesn't really conflict with our bazaar spot, since bazaar we just want coast adjacency. But it is always important to make sure you know where your unique district is going, and make sure you don't accidentally build something in it. For instance, in Sabrotan here, this spot with the megalith is probably going to be my unique district because we get resource adjacency. We should be getting at least 2 quarter adjacency on that tile, maybe up to 4, depending on how we build. So, but you know, without like map tax in the game or something like that, you just want to just make sure you don't build where your unique district is going. Especially, so the way that I'm building right now, I decided to go for piety second. We're actually pushing off the unique districts until like turn 30 or 40 probably, just because they get the primary benefit from having a lot of settlements in the distant lands, so it makes more sense for us to put our resources towards settling the distant lands first, and then getting the unique districts. So even though this is going to go unbuilt for a little bit, we need to be careful not to build stuff in its place. Anyway, that's all. Again, see you guys in like turn 15 or something like that. Alright, so we were, I think we got interesting a little bit earlier than I expected to. It's the start of turn 9 now, and we've seen our first bit of the distant land, which if we go and look at the settler lens, we see camels, cotton, freshwater. We're almost certainly settling this tile, or maybe a tile or 2 inland on the river. So we're pretty happy about that. And we also actually found this beautiful little island that is technically not distant lands. I technically could have settled this in the last era, and I really, really wish that I had explored this in the last era and settled it, because I would love to have a... gosh, this would create such an amazing Punic port. And we are actually going to settle this anyway. This settler that had to redirect because of our surprising discovery of the distant lands being 4 tiles away from from us, with 2 capitals up there. So this settler that had to map scrolled. This settler that had to redirect is going to end up settling this little island. We've also pushed out, let's see, how many more settlers do we have on the way? We've got 2 more settlers on the way, so we're going to jump up to 13 out of 10 pretty quickly, which shouldn't matter because we have enough happiness bonuses stacked that you know, we shouldn't be receiving any penalties from it. But it is still a good idea to, like, you know, have a rough idea of how much over the settlement cap you're going to be going and how much you can handle. So yeah, those are our settlement plans. We want to settle this city really quickly and buy a scout once we get there. Buy probably 2 or 3... We'll buy some scouts. Actually, we want to buy a couple scouts. Because I kind of want to keep an eye on... Scouts are just so cheap, which is beautiful. So it's 85 gold to see if Anakena is being taken out. I guess I could use the archer to do that, but I kind of just don't like... I don't want to think about them. We did just finish Piety, and we're moving into the Spanish civics, not necessarily to get the unique district, because as I mentioned, we're not really interested in building these until we have like 3 or 4 distant land settlements, but this Cerro Rico tradition is going to be just amazing for us. So that's what we're doing next. In Carthage here, we did gold buy a temple just to get the religion created immediately. So we want to, or Spain. We'll go ahead and we'll be Catholics, as I think. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm not offended. I should actually probably look that up real quick and make sure I'm not being offensive by. Okay. Spanish Catholics. Okay, it looks like I'm not wrong for saying that Spain was historically Catholic. So, and what are we gonna go for? So, I kind of just want to do this quickly. So I think we're gonna go for the Brahmanism one again, where we convert capitals. And the reason that we're doing this is just because we got piety really early, because we have pretty good starting culture, and we we gold bought our monastery or our temple. We should be able to get Catholics or capital cities pretty early, and we should be able to get a lot of relics really early. Which again, that's the earlier in the game you can get your yields, the better, and the yields on those relics are juicy. So that's why we're doing that. And then founder belief. This one is, I feel like the belief almost doesn't matter, because once you get your relics, it stops really, in my opinion, being worth your time to maintain religious presence, unless you're really heavily leaning into like theology. I don't tend to, but so for that reason, I kind of just like stewardship and shrines of the kami the best, just because these are the if I'm trying to retain something for like the modern era legacy or something like that, these are the easiest to be like, oh, I want to use my last 5 turns to keep that religious belief, so I'll convert like, I don't know, 4 or 5 cities with a wonder to get shrines of the kami to be reasonable. That's kind of my thought on that, because we're gonna do a burst of missionaries now that we've got our religion. We're just gonna go ahead and queue up. Let's see, we're gonna queue up, I don't know, like 4 missionaries probably. Sounds good. And we might have to gold buy stuff in the capital to keep its development on par, but we also kind of, I'm still treating my gold like it's infinite, and it's pretty high still, but it's not infinite the way it was in Antiquity. Not yet, at least. It's gonna get there with Cerro Rico and all the other various bonuses that we have. Yeah, so this commander, we managed to get two archers and a tercio in this commander, so that should be more than enough to handle anything early in the distant lands that's a problem. Let's see. Incense. It's a shame that incense... I don't know. My understanding is that incense was bugged. I don't know if it still is, but apparently I've been using incense. It was like, oh yeah, I'll just use it to pump out a ton of mercenaries, but apparently it just doesn't work, which is kind of a bummer. I wish it just gave science like it did in Antiquity, but... Alright, what do we got? Science or culture? Let's go for science. We want to get to shipbuilding faster. And then resources? No, there aren't. That was a lie. So, we've gotten open borders, and we're starting to build relationships with both Elizabeth and Ben Franklin so far. And we've got, Matya right now is building its bazaar, but after that we're going into a couple more merchants, just to, we can probably get a trade route with Cahokia. We can probably get a trade route here with Gao without, too much difficulty. So that's the plan there, to start those relationships, and we're hoping that I have a lot of settleable land here, because I'd really like to push out 4 or 5 cities, 7 or 8 settlements onto this land. So this looks promising. That the settler lens doesn't show me it's not showing me any unsettleable spots, so that does mean that there are no cities here. And this also is looking more like a landmass than an island, so it should be favorable for us, but we're not quite sure yet. That's part of the reason we're really interested in getting this the settler down really early, so we can start buying scouts. Other than that, let's continue. Gosh, this settler that we bought on turn 2 up in the top of the map lost so much value. So much value. Oh, that was such a big mistake. Luckily, our trade routes are going to start coming in. So let's see. And here, this is kind of an interesting one, because in a lot of ways we are going to make some of our yields a little bit worse, because we're trying to, rather than trying to put the best resources in cities, we're just trying to slot as many resources as possible anywhere, because of the way we've done our tech tree. We're, let's see, truffles, what can we take out? We don't need the dyes anymore. We've got our temple. That's plenty of happiness. So, there we go. And now, let's see, actually, is there... I guess we could take the cotton out and put the elephants into Sabraton, and I think that keeps all of the best resources, plus all of the city resources in my cities. And then we'll just... Oh, you're slightly less happy than the rest of the towns. I guess Hippo could have used it too. We're not that worried, just as long as everything's slotted. That's what matters. So keep exploring here, looking for places we could consider trading to. I'm just gonna move that. Yeah, so that's our rough plan. We've got you've seen we've gotten the trade routes have started coming in, so we're starting to bring our economy back online, and our culture has shot up a little bit. Our gold is steadily increasing, so we're happy with our progress. And we've got like 4 settlers headed out to grab this town that'll be like the receiving port for my treasure fleets, if I manage to make any treasure fleets, and then we're going to start spreading our religion to the capitals with early missionaries. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, and I will. I guess I'll see y'all once again a little bit in the future when stuff starts getting interesting. We start making important decisions again. We're starting to turn 20 here. We just unlocked the Council of the Indies too to get the Casa de Contratacion, which isn't super important to have yet, but we do. Just because we're starting to run out of things to build in the cities that we do have, and we are actually starting to get pretty good settlements on the distant lands. So we pretty much hit the jackpot with the distant lands here. We've got this settlement, which is going to take a little bit to build up, but this settlement hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 distant lands resources. So that's kind of amazing. We're going to make sure to build out districts in this direction to get a fishing key in this city, because we need to. We want to build towards all of the resources, and we want to get a fishing key is ideal. So we're probably gonna. This is probably gonna be one of our. This is either our first or second city that we make once we start turning our gold into cities instead of other things, which actually is probably pretty soon. We can probably afford to turn Barcelona into a city. The only reason I hesitate to turn Barcelona into a city right now is because we're still trying to gather resources, so the growing town buff is still the most significant growth buff that's available to me. So even though we would like to start taking advantage of the production in Barcelona, I still think I probably want to wait for... It's a shame we missed this silver, because this town doesn't capture the silver, and the way that we settled these two is going to prevent us from getting that silver. But, oh well, not a huge deal. As you can see, we've kind of got settlers dotted all over the place here, so our settlement limit is... We managed to pick up a bunch because we got feudalism, which gives us a settlement cap, and we also got New World Riches. Or not New World Riches, Oh, I haven't gotten the settlement cap yet. We're going to go ahead and grab that. Also, we're interested in getting El Escorial, which gives us another settlement limit. So we're, and then speaking of that, we should actually just buy another settler. We've basically been buying a scout every turn in Barcelona for a little bit. Just because, again, they're like 75 gold, and we want to know what the distant lands look like. We met Sophie, since we're allowed to call her that, according to her opening dialogue. And she's, we don't want to like start a war with her yet, but we're going to be getting great works pretty early with the Brahmanism and the early missionary combination, and she's also in land we want to settle. So it looks like we should be able to, if I can capture all of this territory that fits on this screen, and I guess maybe a little bit more up here. I guess we should probably look at. Yeah, I don't see. It doesn't look like there are any cities in the fog of war here, based on the fact that I can settle all of these border tiles and this luxurious encampment that I've seen because of a scout ability. So we might not have to go to war, and these mountains are kind of promising because maybe there's a mountain range blocking me off from Caffin, but we can't see yet. We have been using our military that's on this part of the island to scout as well, which is really effective because you see our commander just moves like the wind. We've got 4 movement to turn, which... And I've realized, I've complained about this being bugged before, but the maneuver ability, so it says it ignores movement restrictions, which is kind of true. It seems like it ignores vegetated terrain restrictions, but you still get caught in the rough and on rivers. So that's my understanding of how mobility works. But either way, the combination of mobility and initiative, the fact that I can, drop a military unit and kind of get 2 extra movements worth of scouting out of that has been really incredible to very quickly scout out all of this area that we're kind of spamming settlers across to. And we're mostly just focused on getting the best resource density possible. We're a little bit interested in making sure we connect with roads, but we've got enough free space here. Nobody else has settled here yet, and there are just tons of resources over here on this little subcontinent, so that's how that's going. Expansionist attribute points. I'm not sure if I want to grow 1 more tile before I turn Barcelona into a city, or if I want to do it immediately. So we are still going to, we're going to be putting fish in all these little towns, and we're going to make sure they all have granaries, because plantations give you slightly more food and slightly faster growth if you have a granary. But that's where we are, so... We are starting to get to the point that we have enough settlements in the distant lands, and we're not stopping. So it is worth our home cities starting to build the unique district at this point. And you'll see we've got a lot of Casa Consistorials in the queue. Actually, I think all of our cities, all of our cities are building Casa Consistorials. That's funny. And I still think I'm interested in a distant land city or two. I eventually want to turn all of my homeland settlements into cities, just so we can make as many of the unique district, what's it called? As many of the plazas as we can, but it's not like we need to do that early game. And as you can see, turn 20, our gold's already on 508 a turn, so we're still able to pursue that agenda of pretty aggressively gold buying whatever we want. All of our towns have a couple of buildings in them because, we should make sure... what are we gonna buy here? We'll get... Grab the brickyard there. So we always want to make sure we make a fishing quay so that we can, what's the word I'm looking for? So that we can get back to, get our distant lands, we can spawn treasure fleets. But we're also we want to try to build buildings towards the distant lands resources. So for instance, we chose this specific brickyard spot because it enabled both the fishing quay and getting closer to the silver. Do I want to do that again? The only thing that becomes bad about that is like that this is a tile we want to use for like a library and a blacksmith, right? But I guess we've got a couple of science and production tiles up here, which is a shame because, gosh, this is such a mining town. This might actually just stay a town and be a mining town. So with that being the case, we're just gonna build the stone cutter there, and yeah, this is actually gonna be an insane mining town. We might actually use the Suffet's policy, or the Suffetes, or I don't know how to pronounce it, the Carthage policy that gives us 20% increase on mining towns and fishing towns, because we're gonna have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 building or improvements that benefit from mining town. Oh wait, we do hit that jade. Yeah, so we're gonna have... yeah, this is definitely a mining town. Which... Let's go ahead and grab that silver. Actually, this is a tough one, because the niter has food on it, which makes it slightly more interesting. But we're still focused on, we're focused on getting the treasure fleet resources, our technology chart. You see we're ignoring all of the masteries right now because we're just rushing towards shipbuilding. So I think we're still going to focus on the on optimizing treasure fleets with our distant lands. Oh, I keep on... I lost open borders with Isabella, which is really dangerous when your ship is exploring the coastline. And I ran out of influence because it's not super important, but we are trying to get a couple of city-states. We've got Anakana here that we've settled some... Or not settled, but we've positioned some scouts on to make it harder for Ashoka to capture them if he decides to capture them. And then August here, this was initially a hostile city-state, so I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to survive. But if nothing else, they're not attacking us anymore, and we might get a science city-state out of it, so we befriended them. We have been clearing out... There was a city-state over here or an independent power, not a city-state, that was hostile, and we cleared them out just because we want this land, so that's the idea. If I didn't have this insane influence from all of my hub towns that I have right now, I probably wouldn't be bothering with collecting city-states, but right now we just, we need something to do with the with the 88 influence a turn that we're accumulating. We can only send out so many diplomatic actions, and we already support other people's diplomatic actions for free, so yeah, that's about where we are on turn 20. So we're just trying to settle and grow in the distant lands as fast as possible. Our settlement limit has caught up a little bit with us. So, we've actually got enough settlement limit to handle all of our settlements, just in time for us to settle more. I hate it when I always expect when I settle a city and it gives me the grow option. I always expect it to do the town that I just settled. All right, so this is a slightly. Technically, these production tiles are much better to grow to, but I kind of want to grab this farm tile just so I can claim this wine that somebody is growing into. Yeah, Ada's growing into, so I'd just rather grab that and prevent her from being able to get it. So, I mean, Sabratan's going to be slightly weaker in the interim, but we will eventually get a wine out of it, so probably. I don't know. Honestly, that was probably a bad choice. Because that does represent prioritizing yields later over yields now, which is a cardinal sin in the game of civilization. Let's see, how do we want to do this? So this spices gives us a plantation, which has one food on it. Oh no, that's a woodcutter. That's a bummer. Alright, what are we going to buy here in Sevilla? So this is going to be tough to turn into a city, actually, because we're kind of going to have to. Let's see, how do we do this? We can buy a brickyard here. We can buy a saw pit here. We can buy a temple there. And we can get the fishing key out. And that gives us the fishing key. It connects us to these two distant lands resources. That's actually pretty good. So, kind of interested in building something this way as well, but we might wait to build in this direction until Sevilla actually is a city, which I could technically do now, but I'd rather have the gold still available to me in case I make other decisions on what to do with it. So, because we do have a bunch of cities settling up, and we are interested in building out at least to the fishing key in all of our cities, so that we can start spawning treasure fleets as soon as possible. Let's see. Sure, you can have open borders, buddy. The other thing we've got going on, we've got some pretty great happiness per turn, which makes sense based on the way we've built, and we're still at the point where our we've got a 12 happiness town there. That's kind of an outlier on the low side, but we're still at the point where our distant lands towns are going to start to get upset. But even then, we can Can I? Yeah, I can move stuff out right now. So we can switch them onto dyes wherever possible to get their happiness up. Yeah, so that'll give me one more settlement limit to play with. And let's see, Hedgermedum can give up its dyes. We can put those in Valencia. And there we go. We're back to the point that all of our towns are not just fine with being over the settlement limit, but actually fine with being even further over the settlement limit. So that's a good thing. So you can take the dyes out of Carthage as well. And how are we doing down here? We're interested in making sure our city or our towns improve in our happiness improves in multiples of 5, because that's how much it takes to counteract a city limit increase. All right, unfortunately, we're going to have to start unslotting production here if I want to get maximum happiness efficiency. But that's okay. We're mostly interested in everything being slotted. That tends to be, by and large, better than having the best things per city slotted, I think. So, and that'll work for now. Valadold's going to get a little bit sad when, because we've got we've got 2 settlers out still, and I probably still want to get like 2 or 3 more, I'm guessing. But that should be fine. We will also be getting we'll be getting more settlement limit when we finish New World Riches, and we're probably going to build Casa Consistorial in the capital as soon as it's available. Or is Casa Consistorial the name of the wonder? The El Escorial, that's the name of it. But yeah, so that's where we are right now. We're heavily focused on getting treasure fleets as much as we can, and expanding into the distant lands. And also now that we've got 3 distant land cities now, so the bonus on our unique district is up to 6 gold a turn for completing the unique district. So I think it's actually worth it to start building these now, and we are doing so. And that's only going to continue to get better, but that's roughly where our head is. We've got 1 trade route with every leader, so once we start getting piles of extra influence, we'll start improving trade relations and making extra merchants to take advantage of those. But we're not super interested in spending the resources on merchants, just because as you see, we're at capacity on our resources right now, so we don't really need more resources immediately, and we're more interested in spending our gold on developing the distant lands as quickly as possible. So trade's probably on the back burner for now. We've also kind of finished with religion. We haven't actually gotten any of our conversions yet, but this missionary is heading towards Gao and Lahaina to hopefully get those. So we haven't actually collected any of our relics yet, but I've got mercenaries dotted. Yeah, there we go. We've got this mercenary that's going to Yingchan, this missionary, which actually made it to Ashoka's capital that I'm not going to try to pronounce. But, so we'll start getting our relics there. It is slightly lower value on Spain. So this whole exploring the coast with boats thing that I'm doing is slightly less valuable on Spain, because one of the tercios that you get later in the game has their ability is that you get to explore the entire coast for free, but our boats don't really have anything else to do right now, so that's what we're doing. I guess it might be worthwhile to maintain a little bit of a navy, like in Valencia, or in, when we settle in this area, we might maintain a little bit of a navy, just because we're reasonably concerned about ending up in a war with Catherine. She isn't mad at us yet, but she probably will start to be, so it's probably a good idea to keep a decent amount of military, like in this area, maybe in this area. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. And we've got 1,000 gold here. I think we should actually city up one of our locations. And I think that's going to be Barcelona. I think Sevilla is a better city in general than Barcelona is, but Barcelona doesn't have any more treasure fleet resources to grow to, and Sevilla does still have treasure fleet resources to grow to. So I think it's better to leave... we should get the granary too, because I want that one food. It's food, it's bad, but it's still, our only goal right now is getting to these distant lands resources, so I think we'll take the granary there. That is a decent science tile, but we've got a couple of decent science tiles. Yeah, this is a decent science tile as well, and this is a decent science tile as well, so we don't lose out too much by having the granary there. But yeah, so this is a better city. Oh, and that actually means we don't have enough gold to turn Barcelona into a city, so we'll just do that next turn. Anyway, that's what's going on in the Empire right now. We'll try to stop from rambling too much, but we're still on. We've got our religious plans pretty much executed at this point, and we're just waiting for mercenaries to get there. Our trade empire is back online, and you can kind of tell from our yields, which I think these are pretty solid yields for turn 22 of exploration on standard speed. I'm pretty happy with them. Ooh, ally is at war. Who is she at war with? I am sorry, Ada Lovelace, but I am not going to war with a trade partner. Unfortunately, we're going to lose some science from that, because we're going to lose... we no longer have Friend of Way running, since we don't have an ally. We could possibly... How are you doing, Benjamin Franklin? You're not hostile with anybody, so Franklin's actually a pretty safe ally to make here. And continue running Friend of Way, so we'll see. Yeah, he'll take the... And then... Wait, are we already running Friend of Way? That can't be right. We were running it with Ada, but, oh, where is it that I can see my recently ended ongoing? Improve trade relations... Huh, maybe I just have to wait till next turn to get my Friend of Way available again with, Benjamin. So... Oh well. And we're not, so in the, if you're watching from the Carthage video, we were, pretty interested in taking advantage of the 4 science per age per leader you're friendly or helpful with, that's much less good in exploration, just because, even though it's 8 science per leader, that's still not a whole lot. So we like to have it, but we don't need it. But having an ally for Friend of Way is still fairly good. So, but yeah, we're maintaining relatively friendly relationships. We've also put some effort into maintaining the relationship with Isabella, as you can see here, and that's makes sense that she would dislike us. She doesn't like it when people have natural wonders in their borders, and I have enough natural wonders that I'm using the Isabella memento because it's actually good. So, which I love seeing these natural wonder tiles, man. 13 yields on a town that's sitting here generating 12 influence a turn and just kind of chilling. Oh, there's fish that I haven't expanded to. I might actually turn Rusticate back into a growing town for a little bit, just to grow to that last fish. Now that we're still using our influence, but at this point it's not as important. So I think I will do that to grab a growth and Rusticate at the cost of 12 influence a turn. Always happy to see the AI wants to trade with us more. All right, I am just rambling now. I keep on getting distracted by new things popping up on the screen that I can ramble on about. So I'll cut the recording here until, I don't know, turn 30, turn 35, maybe even as late as turn 40, depending on what happens. Next time our strategy changes at all, I'll start the recording again. So I will catch y'all soon. We are back here at the start of turn 30, where we are just finishing El Escorial, which is Spain's unique wonder. So that's going to give us something about happiness, which is actually relevant to have in range of Carthage, which is pretty nice. And has relic slots. We like that. The settlement limit's really what's good about this wonder, though. That's why you build it, is for the settlement limit. So where are we at? We've got this distant land area settled up pretty well. I kind of think Venice... I remember seeing Catherine's troops on Venice when my scouts were in the area, but my scouts have kind of moved on, so I just built another scout to keep an eye. If Catherine didn't clear them out, I'm probably going to go do that. And we were clearing out Medina here, but then I realized that Ben Franklin is befriending them, so I'd rather not make enemies with Ben Franklin. He's it's nice to have an ally on the distant lands, given how much I'm pushing into the distant lands. So we're actually, going to retreat from that fight and start moving towards Venice, just in case. Especially because it looks like it's very unlikely that we're going to be able to get any settles past this point. It looks like we do have a nice defensible mountain pass here, in case Sophie decides she wants to go. So that'll be nice. And we'd really like to get a I want Venice cleared because I would really like a settlement. Capturing these distant lands resources doesn't matter as much, just because our fishing key would have to go here, and it's just an unreasonable amount of distance from our homeland settles. So even if we spawned a treasure fleet on this on like turn 40 or something like that, it's probably not going to reach home until like turn 70. So we're not super worried about catching the resources. However, we do benefit from having more settlements on the distant lands, and this is a very tactical settlement to make this a very defensive little area. So I'm thinking we're probably going to go for a settlement in this rough area to like block off this pass and then complete blocking off this part of the peninsula too. And then we might look for like 1 or 2 interior settles to catch these straggler resources. So, like, I don't know, maybe something over here to get this silver, this fish, and this dye that we're going to miss out on. And then, let's see, we're catching that niter with Madrid. We're catching that jade with Zaragoza. So it's really only this foxes that we're missing. So we probably won't go for another interior settle here. So it might just be a settle here, south of where Venice is, and then a settle, maybe a settle here, just to make our plazas better back home. So the other thing that, so if let's look at the culture tree right now. Often I really like going for, after I've got piety and economics, and I've got the important culture unique civics for the build, which in this case, I don't really care about getting Armada or the Mastery because I'm not fighting on water right now, so these are really only good if you're fighting on water. I really like going to the Society Mastery, rushing it for House of Wisdom, and then after that rushing social class in the mastery, because I think that I think Notre Dame is just the best wonder that you can build in exploration. So you can just look at it as something that gives you a huge amount of culture to start with, assuming you probably have, I don't know, 10 specialists in your empire or something when you're able to build it when you rush it. That scales is awesome. But we also have to consider, so I don't like going theology or Reformation early, because so evangelism is decent, but I get around most of the need for evangelism by building my missionaries really early, so they only take one charge to convert settlements anyway. But getting these 15% increases on my yields if I'm converting my cities, the policy card doesn't show very much because none of my cities are converted. So, these are showing deceptively low numbers, but we our yields are starting to get high enough that we stand to benefit a lot from getting Reformation and converting our own cities to our religion. So if we run into a position where our cities don't have anything to do with their production, I probably will switch my my culture research over to grabbing Reformation so that I can use my production towards missionaries and take advantage of rationalism and religious orders. But for now, we're just going to continue rushing towards, we're about to get the House of Wisdom, which we should be able to build ASAP, and then we'll continue rushing for Notre Dame. So, oh, cool. Extra influence, as if we don't have enough of that. Speaking of, we should, are we doing anything with our influence? We've got Friend of Way running with this guy. Ashoka's getting angry at us. Why is he mad at us? Oh, because he doesn't like people who have land. We've got a little bit of that. Isabella's happy with us, though I guess we already have the diplomatic, so it's just not really worth... and we are interested in having Isabella as an ally as well, just because we're settling pretty close to her. Our treasure fleets should start spawning soon. We've got 2 turns until shipbuilding is going. Our relics have started to come in. We've got 6 here now across the empire, so we're well on our way to finishing on that one pretty early. And also we just get the each relic is worth 2 culture, so this is 12 culture that our missionaries were able to collect for us, which is pretty nice. And I think we've got 2 1-charge missionaries that are converging on Baghdad. Where's the other one? There it is. So those missionaries should be ready to capture that pretty soon. We need to get one of them on a rural tile, which this guy does not have many of. I guess we'll go for that fishing boat. That should work. So we're doing pretty well on that. Let me check the... I believe I bought another missionary, or if I didn't, I should. Oh, Cahokia got. Okay, so we need to buy one more. So we're gonna be able to pretty easily complete the culture path in a couple of turns here, especially when oh, we don't have a temple in here. That's why we can't buy a missionary. We're gonna need it for the capacity anyway, and we're building it on top of the city center just because eventually we are going to turn this into a city so that we can build a plaza on this tile, just because that's probably the best thing we'll ever be able to do with this one tile as a one-off, because it'll be worth like I don't know, like 14, 16 gold or something like that. So that's the plan here. So yeah, let's get the missionary so that we can convert Cahokia. I need to stop clicking this button while I'm actually recording. That's a problem. So other than that, so we haven't had a ton of need to build military because we've been able to keep the peace with most people. We might have to worry about Ashoka eventually, which means Matya might have to switch over to making units and walls, and Carthage is in a little bit of danger, but I have so much production concentrated over here that honestly, probably Fenay by itself can defend this area. Either way, that still means that we're pretty much safe to boom. We continue to get city-states available to us, which is always good. What are we doing here? Destruction of the monastery. We're not going for our own religion. This is a good reason to go for religion. Maybe I should consider going theology early and more builds. I don't know. I'm not doing that build right now, so we're not going to try it now, but that might be better than I'm giving it credit for. For now, I think that just going for natural law is probably... Yeah, that's probably going to be the best way to do it, because we have decent science right now, but most of it isn't actually coming from buildings, so we're better off just getting a science increase. And I think that's everything we're doing. We're, on our military legacy path, we're going to get to like 6 or 7 cities, and then we'll just park missionaries on all of them to instantly complete the path when we're ready to end the age. The economic legacy path, we're still rushing it, but, you know, shipbuilding's still 2 turns away, so this is probably going to be the last one we're able to finish. Science is one that I'm not going to worry about too much, just because if you have like good city building fundamentals and you're able to get wonders in, you know, 2, maybe 3 cities, it seems like this one comes pretty naturally. So we haven't thought a whole lot about it yet, but we should be getting there. And yeah, this is looking like one we're gonna hopefully be able to get 12 points out of. So that's where we are. We're also starting to you know, we're starting to run out of things to do with our gold, so we're starting to make more and more cities. So we've got Hadrumetum. I don't remember if I did this on camera or not, but Hadrumetum is a city now, and it's probably time for... Actually, Thystris is worth a lot of influence, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's worth 16 influence. Thystris is a hard one to convert. You know, maybe we just do Russicade. Yeah, why not? We'll just turn Russicade into a city. It's not the greatest city ever, but we just need something to do with our gold, because we are at the point where we've got so much of it that that we kind of just need to spend it. So anyway, that's where we are on turn 30. We're continuing to maintain peace with our neighbors, and the pace at which we're settling means that we have been able to take pretty much this whole part of the subcontinent here, which is just an amazing amount of unsettled land, given that Ben Franklin and Isabella must have been at war early in the Antiquity Age. I'm not sure how far Catherine is spread, and there's a lot of fog of war here, so she could be spread pretty far, but she's also very far from the other 2. And I don't think there's another leader. I think there's only 3 distant lands leaders when you play a standard size map, so yeah, I will probably cut it off here to prevent rambling too much, and I'll start recording again once our treasure fleets start coming in. I think that's probably a good idea, so I will see y'all soon. Welcome back, y'all. We are here at the beginning of turn 39, and I probably should have skipped through these warnings, because neither of those are actually that important. We are kind of excited to see counter-spying available to us, because Elizabeth has been... or not Elizabeth, Sophie has been spying on us, stealing government secrets and the like. And we don't really care that Sophie's getting the culture, but it does lower our relationship a little bit every time we catch her doing it. So I wish there was the option to just say, hey, I don't care, and let them do it, but counter-spying, it does give us an option to kind of... we're probably not going to be able to actually prevent the war from happening with Catherine, but we can delay it pretty significantly. So we're making a... I'm really not sure about this choice that I'm making right now, but instead of using the treasure fleets right away, I think I just want to let them build up in Valladolid and convert them all right at the end of the game. And the reason being is because normally I like to do military right at the end of the game, and the way that I do that is I get all my settlements, but I don't convert any of them, and then I just build up missionaries so that I can convert them all, double my non-sufficient Orbis points, and beat the military legacy points. But since we're doing... You know, I actually decided to go ahead and make the dip for theology, and it turns out it is actually starting to be pretty worth it. So this right here is with just 2 of my cities so far converted to my religion, and we're already getting... you know, 25 and 30 yields out of these 2 policies. So we decided to, you know, we went for the celebration that we're in right now. We actually went for the 40% production towards civilian and support units for 10 turns, and we changed our policies around a little bit too, so that we have evangelism in, and we got the where do I look at it? There we go. The extra belief zeal to give our missionaries 1 extra charge. So really quickly, we are just going to pump out a couple of a couple of 5-charge missionaries, and we're just going to convert all of our homeland cities to our religion to start with. So that should that should give us some pretty solid. If I'm guessing correctly, we're going to be getting something like 150 or so yields out of being Catholic all across at least the homelands part of my empire. We'll think a little bit harder about whether we're going to do it in the distant lands, just to avoid getting the non-sufficient Orbis path points too early. I'd say that 5 times fast. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We've actually completed the culture legacy path already. So we've got artifacts on artifacts. Technically, let's go ahead and do that now. I should build a temple somewhere. Madrid. How about? Oh, Madrid already has a temple. We already have a temple in Sevilla. We already have a temple in Barcelona. Man, we got temples everywhere. Nowhere else is going to be able to build a good temple here, so we'll just build any temple. You know what? I don't think Leptis has a temple. I haven't built anything in Leptis. So let's give Leptis a temple. Why not? Also don't have a good one here, but whatever, doesn't hurt. And let's get that artifact slotted, which technically at this point it's probably better to actually just skip out on the 2 culture and happiness and not worsen our relationship with Catherine here, since she she doesn't like it when you have a lot of great works. And let's see, the AI must have more great works than us, I guess, because she's not mad at us at all yet. But so yeah, that's what we're thinking. The reason I say this is a weird choice, by the way, is because this is kind of choosing yields later over yields now, which is, that's the golden rule of Civ. Yields now are always better. I think in this case, we're already making, we're already making 921 gold, and our gold is already starting to spiral out of control. So you see, I haven't spent my gold in 2 turns, and I've already stockpiled up 3,000 of it. So we don't really need the gold, honestly. And even though we could technically accelerate infrastructure out a little bit faster, we get our cities out a little bit faster, I think at this point it might actually be worth it to slow down the end of the era by a little bit, especially because it's probably let's see. Actually, you know what? Barcelona, we're not going to get that much from converting Barcelona. So actually, the yields on our science and culture, Sevilla would get a lot of benefit from the happiness and the gold, though. Sevilla's making a lot of gold. Barcelona's certainly not. And then I think those policies only affect, they only affect cities. So I guess we could just convert the cities, and that would only bring us up to, it wouldn't actually finish the non-sufficient Orbis, it would just bring us up to 2 points instead of 1 point in non-sufficient Orbis. But I'm getting slightly worried about the Enlightenment legacy path, just because usually by this point I've gotten at least 1, and maybe it's because of the way I'm building my cities and the way that I'm prioritizing my settlers towards, or not settlers, my specialists towards ageless tiles, just because these will, even though they might be a little bit less valuable in my unique districts than they would be in like a really good observatory dungeon tile, for instance, these specialists are not going to lose their value when I go into the modern age. So I kind of like them for that reason. So I think we should be able to work it such that so in the tech tree, let's take a look at that real quick. Once we get to education, we're going to get 1 more specialist limit, and I think with this, once we're able to get like 3 specialists per tile, we should be able to just kind of hang on to, get our tiles up to like 38, 39 culture, and then start equipping these like Upasafa and Patronage here. The policies that increase the adjacency, and we should be able to get all of our science legacy points on or around the same turn by building up specialists and then switching into the adjacency policies once we're ready to end the age. So that is about where we're thinking of, or what we're thinking of doing right now. We're pretty much done expanding here. We realized we didn't actually need Venice gone to get this location for Bilbao, and this is where I wanted to settle anyway, just because the goal is to block this area, and this location is fresh water that captures 3 resources and occupies the strategic position that I want it to. So let's actually go ahead and, normally I don't really like the grist mill or the sawmill. I don't think they're very worth it for what they cost. But we have so much gold right now that, like, we just need to start spending it on whatever. I should probably be making more cities. But I am interested in making sure that this is all our territory, in case of, just to make sure that we don't have like a big army snuck into the middle of our distant land settlement or anything like that. So, all right, let's get company posts are real good. I don't actually have any resources in Bilbao yet, so we're not going to get the bonuses for slotting a resource immediately. But all right, we'll put the stonecutter there, I guess. And then the temple there, and that allows us... And this is done more so for just, like I said, capturing the territory that is this little strategic bit of land. So if Catherine goes to war with us, we can set up like 2 tercios and 3 crossbows here, maybe a 4th crossbow here, and we'll just be completely impenetrable, other than over water, which... If we get into a war, we'll be able to switch into... and I haven't researched them yet because we haven't been in a war, but if we go into Armada and its mastery, plus some of the other technologies that we can pick up, we should be able to overwhelm Catherine's navy if she decides she wants to fight us with our navy. But I'm not crazy about these forward positioned ships she has right now, so hopefully we'll just be able to prevent her from disliking us by counter-spying, and maybe we'll send her another trader. Why not? Let's see if we can... I don't know if we actually need anything from her, but we could use the diplomacy, and we have more gold than we know what to do with. We're still making pretty good use of the influence. So we've got Hippo, we've got Leptis, and we've got Phyzdrus that are all still homelands towns that I do want to convert into settlements. It's going to be hard because they're all still giving... These are our heavy hitters on influence. That's those 3 towns represent... Oh my gosh, they represent 46 influence a turn right now. So as much as I want to turn them into cities, it's so hard to give up that much influence. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do it gradually and turn like one of them into a city soon. But I don't think now is the time yet. We're still getting value out of having all of this influence. So as far as technology goes, at this point we've gotten the shipbuilding rush, which is what we really care about. So now we're kind of moving towards education because, like I said, the specialist limit is our plan for finishing the science legacy path. But we're also just generally interested in we have a mod that lets us see the effect of these masteries. So I can see here I would get 50 extra food if I went for cartography mastery, which isn't great, but here where I got 23 extra production for machinery mastery, that's excellent, so we went for that. So whenever we have a particularly good mastery, we're going to go ahead and... Ooh, that's good. That's clay pits and mines. Heraldry is pretty good too, I think, though we don't have a unique happiness building, so maybe less good than I think it is. And this is interesting, but I think I'd rather get education first, actually, just so we don't run into a situation where we have to place a specialist, but we're not able to place it into one of our districts that we really want a specialist in because we don't have the cap yet. So, and then we, like I said, we took a little bit of detour to grab Reformation, just because these policy cards are excellent. And now we're right back to, we've done our rush for the Society Mastery to grab the House of Wisdom, and now we're just continuing on to rushing Social Class to get the Mastery for Notre Dame. And I guess these policy cards are pretty decent too. Bourgeoisie in particular should be quite good for us since we're really, really focusing on turning all of our homeland settlements into cities. So... other than that, we did manage to get the House of Wisdom here in Carthage, so we've actually got this tile that we don't have anything in there yet, but it's got 2 mountains and 3 wonder adjacency, so this is going to be a very lucrative tile for building some culture stuff. So we might actually take advantage of that and go architecture next too, so that we can put a pavilion and a menagerie there to take advantage of that excellent tile and possibly get some specialists in there to get up to 40 on that tile. But other than that, we did get we've got Ashoka, who made a relatively annoying little forward settle in my distant lands. However, this is a settlement we actually like. It's I'm pretty sure it's on freshwater because it's got the 6 happiness there and it's adjacent to the river. So as far as I understand, this should be a freshwater settle. And it's actually also capturing all 3 of the resources we were considering settling it for. So we're not, like, we're not pushing towards going to war with Ashoka, because capturing this city, Kanchipuram, it doesn't progress any of our immediate goals. However, if Ashoka decides that he wants to fight, we're absolutely stealing this settlement and holding on to it. So, and that's why you know, we're not as annoyed about it as a forward settle, just because it is a forward settle, but it's actually a good forward settle. And normally we're annoyed with AI forward settles because they have no idea how to settle, so they just, you know, walk in and ruin the land near you with their settlements. But that's less true than usual. Our scouting has been going pretty well. We've got quite a few scouts that are just kind of combing the land. And what I'm doing is, as I'm scouting all of these areas, every time I see a wonder in a city, and I used to notice I'm actually scouting pretty thoroughly too. I'm trying to see every tile if I can, rather than just getting the general locations. And this notepad document that I've got up is just listing all of the cities that are worth capturing for my Shrines of the Kami belief, and I've organized them by which of my cities they're closest to. So this gets the whole map scouted, which is nice. It makes it easier to trade with, and it also enables us to actually take advantage of our religious founder belief if we want to. So, you know. Welcome back, y'all. We're at the start of turn 50 now, and we've just unlocked the social class mastery. So we're going to be able to immediately start building Notre Dame, and bourgeoisie is probably, yeah, that 36 gold, 36 culture isn't the best policy I've ever seen, but it's definitely better than Kinkareem is here, so we'll go ahead and throw in bourgeoisie. And honestly, yeomanry is pretty good too, so I think I'm going to take out Upasatha and put yeomanry back in, since I honestly think that the texts, like, so we've got enlightenment, patronage, and Upasatha so far. Any of the policies that increase happiness on adjacency, I think they tend to be the best with specialists, when you have a lot of specialists in the you know, the right type of building for the policy. But I kind of just want to, you know, these are the policies that I just want to put in at the end of the game, so that I don't finish the science path too early. So our gold is just continuing to get out of control. We're able to pretty much just buy cities whenever we want to, which is what we've done. We've actually, you notice my influence is only at plus 86, which is because every single one of my homelands settles, except for Valladolid, which doesn't have any space to build. Every single one of these is upgraded to a city and has its Casa Consistorial already purchased, and either purchased or built. In the newer cities, they're all purchased because I just have so much gold coming in. And yeah, so we're pretty well developed. We're kind of just waiting for the rest of the points, and we've got all sorts of yields coming onto our import. This is probably not the highest science you've ever seen, and honestly the culture is probably not the highest you've ever seen either, but both are serviceable enough that we're tending to complete techs pretty quickly. Techs and civics, so that's good. Go ahead and... oh, wow, that already gave us a science point. That is... oh, but not from that. Huh, I'm not actually sure. That bumped my Punic port up to 40 for some reason. So, whatever, not going to complain, we'll take it. And we rushed the rest of that production just because we want to make sure we get Notre Dame in the capital. And Notre Dame will be a big part of completing our science legacy as well, because the extra culture that Notre Dame puts onto specialists is actually, it is counted for the science mastery, so do that. And that should actually be 2 points of the science, or 2 out of 5 for the science path. Yeah, that is 2 out of 5. So we're starting to make progression pretty well there. Let's see what's going on. We were thinking about this distant land settle. Unfortunately, Catherine settled Tushy's hot wife, or Toothis Hatsewe? I'm sorry about the pronunciation on that one. I have no chance. But you know, we actually wanted to settle exactly that tile to grab the camels, the silver, and just generally stuff over here, but Catherine managed to settle it first, so we've decided instead to settle just up here in an area where we eventually capture camels. Camels are going to kind of... I think camels actually disappear in Modern, and we're late in exploration, so the camels actually aren't all that valuable to me, but I would be pretty happy to just capture all of this niter in this era. And we also discovered a little island with seemingly a hostile city-state on it up here. So I haven't actually discovered the city-state yet, which is kind of annoying. My boat's pretty low on HP, so I actually have to be careful about those crossbows. But depending on what's up there, this looks like a pretty resource-rich little island too. So honestly, we might be I might be trying to settle that once I'm able to build a settler from this settlement, and probably a little bit more of a navy. So that's I said I was done settling, but I'm never done settling. That's actually how this works apparently. Let's go ahead and what do we got for narrative choices? More people, more ideas. I think we're gonna go for the migrant. Migrant population just seems better in general. We're really not interested in going to war with Ashoka, so we're just gonna... I love that you can reject being denounced in this game. It's, like, it makes sense from a gameplay standpoint, but in, you know, like, the story that I'm imagining in my mind as I'm playing it, it's like, hey, I'm a world leader. Some other world leader said, hey, we hate your guts, and we think you're doing things wrong. And I'm just like, nah, you don't think that, sorry. So, he gets all upset, but somehow it doesn't... I don't know, it just... like, again, mechanically it makes sense to me that that's a way to maintain the relationship and not go to war, but it is just funny to me every time someone's like, denounced, and I'm like, no you didn't. I don't know. Brings me joy. Alright, what are we going for? We're still kind of just filling in these masteries as we go, so... none of them are that great at this point, though, so we might... Oh boy. I don't know how I haven't been rushing metal casting. I didn't realize how much production there was on the mastery for metal casting. So that's about where we are now. Now that we've got the mastery on social class and we're able to start building Notre Dame, for the rest of the tree, I don't care that much about culture, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab I'm gonna grab Armada just to... I don't know if you can lose out on the social policy, and actually, you know, we'll probably try to grab that last because we're just not using it right now. And I guess, I don't know, at this point we're probably just going to try to pick up as much settlement limit as we can. I guess bureaucracy, no, that's social policy, not specialist limit, so... Yeah, we're just gonna start taking stuff kind of haphazardly and randomly, because we don't really care about anything that's left here. I guess trade winds is pretty good. We probably should have gotten mercantilism earlier. Ooh, this colonialism could be pretty good too, so I guess colonialism into mercantilism is what we're doing now. And other than that, we're still just building. We've, let's see, what do we got for tiles? We've got, you know, Carthage has, it's got this Punic port that already apparently has 40 output on it, so that's pretty nice. Our plaza's getting pretty close at 25 output, so we're not going to get another population growth, but we should be getting another population in Carthage from, those migrants obviously going to give us some population that we can build a district over if we want to. So I think... Oh, yeah, we'll go ahead and grab that, so we can bounce that woodcutter into a specialist if we want to. And we should also be getting at least one more from city-states, since we took one of the suzerain bonuses that gives us a population every time we become the suzerain of a new city-state, and I think we've got like one or two more suzerainities that are on their way in. Either way, we're not too worried about it. So that's 3 tiles just in Carthage that we're pretty sure we're getting to 40. And then this Guildhall Inn tile is producing 34 on a single specialist, and we have a woodcutter here that will be able to bounce into a second specialist whenever we want to. So that makes a 4th tile, and then we just have to find one more somewhere in our empire, which could actually be easier said than done, because I am now kind of running out of good tiles, but I don't know. We'll probably be able to make this plaza in Sabrotin reach 40 somehow, or failing that, we might do the Bazaar Guildhall combo here, since that's got pretty good adjacency. But either way, we should be getting our Science Legacy path. So yeah, that's where we're at. We've also we did collect some of our treasure fleets, but we stopped here at 9 treasure fleet points, just so we can just finish them all at the end. And you see, I've started stockpiling my treasure fleets. What I'm trying to do, so the Sevilla here is making treasure fleets that are worth 5 resources each, which is the absolute best I'm going to get. So those, I think I'm actually going to move them over to Hippo. Every other treasure fleet is worth 1 or 2, so basically I'll be able to roughly count when I have enough treasure fleets to finish off the age, when by, you know, keeping my biggest treasure fleets separate. So other than that, we have a ton of gold now. We're probably going to start making sure we have our missionaries in place to convert all of our distant land cities. So actually, let's just start doing that. We'll just buy some missionaries. Luckily, we have enough purchasing power that pretty much everything is cheap, which is nice. Missionary. So that's a missionary in Bilbao. We do now. I don't think I have a temple in Zaragoza. Yeah, we don't have a temple in Zaragoza. And Valencia, we don't have a temple either, so that's not a problem. We will send buy our missionary here for Sevilla, and then we'll send this Sevilla stationed missionary down to Madrid. Oh wait, it's not Madrid that we want to go to. That was a not a misclick, but a mistake. It's Zaragoza we want to go to. There we go. So I should travel to Zaragoza. And then this Barcelona missionary will travel to Valencia, and we'll buy another missionary in Barcelona next turn. So that's the economic path, or the military path accounted for, and that's pretty much it. I think, short of if we decide to conquer this island, if anything interesting happens here, or if we go to war, at this point, I'm probably just going to bring it back at the second to last turn, when I start my missionary conversions for all of the missionaries that I've seeded around the map to put us in the best possible position, transferring into modern age. So, I'll see y'all soon. Welcome back, y'all. We, as promised, we're on the second to last turn before the game ends. And I know this is the second to last turn because this treasure fleet that I'm selecting right now is, we're going to move it here, and then next turn we'll just be able to capture it. We already have 10 points worth of treasure fleet here, and this is going to be 7 or 8, something like. Some of these are 1 point, some of these are 2 points. I don't know exactly, but I do know this one is 5 points because it's coming from Sevilla, which has 5 resources. So since this is the penultimate turn, all of those missionaries that we spent forever making, we're going to go ahead and painstakingly wake all of them up and start converting my distant land cities. And funny enough, this is also actually the oh, I guess we got that conversion immediately. This is also actually, so I actually got to be careful that I don't finish this, huh? Okay, we should be fine. We don't have enough cities that are going to convert, or enough settlements rather, that are going to convert in one charge, I think, to be in any danger. Yeah, so we'll do all of those, and then we're gonna, I'm not going to bring it up on screen again, but the list I've been making of enemy cities with natural wonders, or not natural wonders, but produced wonders. We've got missionaries in most, if not all of them, so we're going to go ahead and wake all of those up to, and a lot of these missionaries have been asleep on the tiles that they're on for like the past 30 or 40 turns or something like that. You know, we've been planning out this. Let's see. I still need to hit Pudnagala, Roma, Rouen, and Axum. So let's see. Axum is Catherine's, that's here. Roma and Rouen are Augustus's, so that's there and there. And last but not least, Pudnagala, I believe, is Ashoka, who is... Where is Ashoka? Ashoka's... There we go, here he is. Alright, and let's see. Oh, this is kind of nice, too. We'll be able to get a last turn settle on... Not the greatest island ever, because there's no fresh water on it, which is kind of a bummer, but there's a good amount of resources, and I kind of just want to settle in this spot to... A, claim all these resources for the modern age, and B, kind of show off what we can do with what we can do with 1,800 gold a turn, and also how we've been, because we've kind of stopped building science and culture buildings, not because, and mostly because science and culture buildings get hit the hardest when you transition ages and all of your buildings go obsolete, right? So the way that we're you know what, I'm actually just gonna wait until next turn when we build that city. So alright, hey, we just finished a wonder as well. We got the Shwedigon Zedida, aka the 1 wildcard attribute point. Let's go ahead and spend that real quick. Probably in the economics tree. Oh boy, yeah. We're not actually going to get to take any advantage of this right now, but it gets us closer to 5%. You know what, I should have put that in diplomatic, actually. That was a mistake. Oh well. Alright, so let's start by finishing out non-sufficient Orbis by converting all of our distant land cities that didn't end up getting converted. So there we go. That's non-sufficient Orbis complete. We've had Toshikana complete for a long time, and we didn't actually show off the completion for Enlightenment. But if we look at Carthage, we've got our Punic port putting out 53.5 yields. We've got the Plaza putting out 52 yields. We've got this Kiln Pavilion quarter surrounded by mountains and wonders putting out almost 60 yields, 51 culture, which is wild. And then we have a 4 adjacency armor university tile with a specialist in it that's putting out 40 yields. So that's 4 of our enlightenment tiles just in Carthage. And then Hadramedum has this, and this is why if you watched my last video, I put a lot of emphasis on grabbing this one tile, grabbing a settle that contained this one tile island, just because it's real easy to slap Guildhall in onto a little one tile like this and get with only 2 specialists in here, we're up to 50 yields on this tile, so it's pretty strong. So, alright, so we finished non-sufficient Orbis. Let's go ahead and finish our treasure fleet. Show off this little bugged quest that we got, score 2 treasure fleet points from a single. We just had multiple that scored 5 points that didn't do it. No, maybe it's not bugged, and I just have to actually get one that's worth exactly 2. But that one was worth exactly 2, and that didn't work either, so. And last but not least, this one should... Yep, there we go. So that's going to be 12 out of 12 legacy points here on turn 65, and that's going to bring us from... so turn 64 was actually the first turn of the Crisis, and now in the second turn of the Crisis, the... well, boys and girls, and anybody else watching, what is the... guys, gals, and non-binary pals. There we go. That's the inclusive phrase that I want to use there. The Age of Exploration is now ending. 2 turns into the Crisis, so not really much of a crisis. Let's go ahead and... let's see. If I move to the left 1, I miss this die, but I get almost all of these resources in the 3rd ring, which I would rather... honestly settle over here or something like that, just so more of the resources aren't in the 3rd ring. But since this is the last turn, we have to make a settle we can do this turn, so we'll settle right there. And then now we'll actually kind of show off. So first of all, we've got just infinite gold, so we'll just go ahead and immediately make it a city. And then we'll build, so the first build priority is our ageless buildings, right? Ageless buildings are always good. Or not always good, but they're great. They don't cost any maintenance, and they don't lose any value on age transition. So even though their yields in general aren't that high, they're not hurting us the way a lot of the other buildings are when we age up. So we'll go ahead and grab all of our ageless buildings first, because those are just generally... Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not building over any tiles I want for something else. I might be, but I mostly just want to capture this for resources anyway. So we'll get all of our ageless buildings in there. And then also, you'll notice I did make this a city just now, but we've got so much gold that we're kind of just building a city out of gold. So after that, so all of the buildings have... let's look at the armorer here. It's got a building maintenance of 3 gold and 3 happiness. But for the gold buildings, they only have a happiness maintenance cost, and for the happiness buildings, they only have a gold maintenance cost, which kind of makes sense. You would lose a whole lot of value if you had to pay the happiness maintenance on your happiness buildings and vice versa. So because of that, we've actually favored those pretty heavily in the last 10 or 15 turns. In all of our cities, all of our cities are, we've got all of the gold and happiness buildings built. We've got the Guildhall and Dungeon in pretty much every building, just because so the Guildhall is excellent because it's a gold building and it's got an influence yield. So the Guildhall is good to even keep through the end of Modern, which is nice. And we're also generally buying the production buildings as well. Just production, we don't save on either of the maintenance costs, but for one, the dungeon has production and influence, so it's incredible. But just in general, I think 3 production is good enough to pay the maintenance cost of 3 gold, 3 happiness. Whereas I don't think that's true for most buildings. So, and since we've we've had the we're not going to end up getting any. What's the word I'm looking for? We're not going to end up getting any future techs or future civics because we're going for a really quick finish before the because the AI seems to expect exploration era to last like 90 or 100 turns. So finishing it at turn 65, we're finishing it. If we look at the rankings, we're Tokashanka. People are kind of competing with us. Nobody else is even engaged in the economic mechanic. Non-sufficient Orbis, one person has a legacy point, and then on Enlightenment, some people have 1 Enlightenment point, but nobody has multiple Enlightenment points. So we're so far ahead of the AI at this point, it's not even funny. Anyway, we'll finish building Pamplona here, so we'll grab the Guild Hall. Looks like a good pick. Go ahead and grab that. The dungeon is always an excellent pickup, and I'm selecting kind of weird locations for these that are often the low value locations. Oh wait, I don't want to produce those. We don't have time to produce anything. I want to buy those. There we go. So we're not always choosing like the greatest locations for these, just because it's we are they're going to lose their adjacency bonuses as soon as we age up anyway, so it's not really worth putting them in spots where we want to overbuild immediately, because those spots are just going to... granted, that is kind of a tough one, because there are some pretty significant bonuses to overbuilding, so I don't know. Maybe I should be putting my production buildings in... we'll put an armorer here in a good overbuilding spot. This will be a good science production tile, and it'll get me closer to the resources, so... the bank I generally don't go for just because it feels... I don't know, the bank feels too late game to me to be worth anything. Like, I'm almost always finishing the game by the time the bank is able to be built. So, and we're just kind of haphazardly building these. We're kind of spreading them all across the land. And, let's see, I think that's... I guess the bazaar is decent too. We've got, gosh, what a bazaar that is. We'll throw it right there. That'll be a very gold-producing tile. And then the shipyard out of the rest of these is probably... I guess we should probably get a fishing key to make sure that we connect our empire. And then we could get a shipyard, but I'm honestly not even sure this is going to be a city. This might just be a town. So the production here in this case might just not be worth the -3 gold, -3 happiness, since I'm not sure if we're going to keep this as a city in the next stage. So there's our city built entirely out of gold, as well as our kind of explanation of how we've been prioritizing our construction for the past 15 turns or so. So let's go ahead and grab the rest of the tiles that we're able to grab and end the era. Just grab random resources here. I probably don't need to show all the production. I actually didn't manage to get almost any of the tercios because we were so fast on completion that we weren't able to get to the point where we were overflowing production. I guess we overflowed a little bit of production. We've got, let's go back to, here in Carthage, I've got a couple of extra army commanders hanging around that should go to the next stage with us, and then in Hadramedum here, I've got a bunch of fleet commanders that should also go to the next stage with us. Let's see. What is this? Oh, I didn't finish, I didn't finish all of my religious belief. And then the reason this is relevant is because I believe there is a Golden Age dedication that will allow me to maintain that belief, that will give me, a lot of extra gold. What is it? I should look at it instead of just trying to... Gold, culture, and science for each wonder in other settlements that are... Oh, I guess we're not able to get that one because we miscalculated the movement. That's kind of a bummer. Hopefully there aren't too many of these, because it's unfortunate that I can't tell if a move is going to cost 1. Like, because if I could see if there was roads connecting, then I wouldn't have this problem where our missionaries moved 1 and failed. So I guess we should have we should have started that a turn earlier. That's kind of a mistake. I don't know. If I was resetting, I would probably go back a couple of turns and make sure that it all worked out. But we're I think we're far enough ahead that it's ultimately not going to matter that much. So I don't know why I'm still. Maybe we can. I guess. Yeah, so we still managed to get Pud Nagala, which has a wonder in it. So I don't know. We got some of our attempts at capturing all of the enemy's wonder cities to our religion at the last turn. Let's gather that up and then have him chill. Oh, let's see if we can get Rome. Oh, we can get Rouen. That's good. Okay, so we might not have entirely failed on this this attempt to make our religious belief good enough to hold on to into the next stage. I guess we'll see. Honestly, I'm kind of interested enough to just check it real quick in this video instead of waiting for the next video to do it. Don't care. And there we go. That should be turn 65, end of game. Yeah, there we go. Turn 65, exploration age comes to an end. And I really should have saved that before I clicked the end turn button. Oh well. Alright, well, I think we're gonna go ahead and end the recording there, since that's the end of the video. That was Spain as a Carthage follow-up with all 12 milestones in 65 turns. So we are blisteringly ahead of the AI, and we had pretty much infinite gold throughout the entire run. You know, you saw at the very last turn, I kind of just built the city entirely out of gold to flex there, which is something you can just do with Spain. You know, making 2,000 gold a turn will do that. And yeah, so if you guys, if y'all have any questions or want to see anything in the future, want to see any particular civs or leaders or any builds, let me know. And I guess we haven't quite decided. So I think I am going to play this one through to modern, just because we don't feel quite as dominant as we did in the previous games where we were playing the really overpowered civs in exploration. So I'm going to go ahead and show off what I've unlocked as far as civilizations to use in the next age, and if any of you guys want to see any of these civilizations that are unlocked, so it looks like Buganda, the French, and Nepal are the only ones I haven't unlocked for the modern age, then leave me a comment and let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll try to make something work with that if I get any takers. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. So bye bye.